This lecture is for the students of BCA 1 and we are going to discuss Last Expedition written by Robert Falcon Scott. About Scott, we can say that great warriors like great earthquakes are principally remembered for the mischiefs they have done. Now why have I used this word mischiefs for him? You will get to know soon. First, I would like to tell you something about Robert Falcon Scott, that who he was. He was a British naval officer and explorer. He led the National Antarctic Expedition from 1900 to 1904. In June 1910, he went on another expedition that is known as Terra Nova expedition. And what were the aim of these expeditions? It was scientific exploration of South Victorian land and the Antarctic continent. What was this Terra Nova expedition? It was British Antarctic expedition between 1910 and 1913. By doing this, he wanted to be the first one to reach the geographic South Pole. Equipped with motor sledges, ponies and dogs, he started his expedition with his companions on 24th October 1911. And who were his four companions? They were Captain Lawrence Oates, he is also known as Titus Oates, Chief Scientist Dr. Edward Wilson, Henry Bowers and Edgar Evans. They are jointly known as Polar Party. They attained the pole on 17th January 1912, but it was their misfortune that after reaching there they got to know the Norwegian team led by Roald Amundsen had preceded them by 34 days. Means he wanted to be the first one to reach the South Pole, but this was not so. Norwegian team preceded them only by 5 weeks and they all perished on their return journey. Scott was a meticulous diary keeper. This book that we have in our hand, Last Expedition, and only an extract of that book we have in our syllabus, is actually a compilation of diary entries made by Scott. Throughout his mission, throughout his expedition, he kept a diary with him and he noted down all the important things and even the minute details, all the problems he faced, all the things he saw and how his friends perished, how they all died. He has written everything in that. And this Last Expedition, it is a detailed account of his time in Antarctica. It was published by Smith Helder in 1913. The team's daily progress towards their final goal is recorded in Scott's vivid personal narrative. However, his other friends also made some entries. They also wrote some kind of letters, but Scott's account was detailed one. And what were the problems that they faced there? There were some physical hardships, low temperatures, harsh weather conditions, scarcity of food, shortage of fuel. He has written in his diary that sometimes the temperature was minus 40 degrees. Their feet were swollen. He has described the condition of his friend Titus Oates, that he was in such a bad condition that he requested his friends to leave him there in his sleeping bag. They had shortage of food. He has also mentioned this thing that if they only had a correct proportion of food, they might have survived. But even then, through his journey, he is still alive. Through his journals, he is still alive. We can still read about him. We can still see the heroism that he has. And he has given a message. He said, "We took risks. We knew we took them. Things have come out against us and therefore we have no cause for complaint, but bow to the will of Providence, determined still to do our best to the last. Had we lived, I should have had a tale to tell of the hardihood, endurance and courage of my companions, which would have stirred the heart of each and every Englishman." His last diary entry was made on 29th March 1912 and he had written, "I do not think we can hope for any better things now. We shall stick it out to the end, but we are getting weaker, of course, and the end cannot be far. It seems a pity, but I do not think, and I can write more. R. Scott." These were Scott's last lines, and everything that was written by him, it was full of pathos, solemnity and grandeur. And we can say that this book has no parallel in heroic literature. This expedition is often criticized for its faulty organizations, but all that we can say in end is that the causes of the disaster are not due to faulty organizations, but to misfortune in all the risks which had to be undertaken. Thank you.